You see it, you immediately think of Paris. It's that simple. But what if I told you the Eiffel Tower, this incredible icon, was once the most hated structure in the entire city? Well, today, we're going to dig into the wild story of how it went from a public outrage to a beloved landmark.
I mean, how did this structure, which is now the very symbol of Paris, the very symbol of France,
how did it start its life being just viciously attacked by the biggest creative minds of the day? The story is absolutely fascinating. All right, so let's set the scene. The year is 1886. Paris is getting ready to host the World's Fair to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. They needed a centerpiece, a real showstopper, something that would just scream progress and French ingenuity to the entire world. So the government threw down a challenge: design and build a 300-meter tower. Now, to give you some perspective, the tallest structure in the world at that time was the Washington Monument, and it was only 169 meters tall. They were trying to nearly double the world record. Just insane ambition.
And here's the kicker. The winning idea didn't come from some famous, high-minded architect. Nope, it came from two senior engineers in Gustave Eiffel's company. These guys built bridges. They basically took everything they knew about bridge trusses and just turned it vertical. It was a radical idea, celebrating pure industrial function over traditional beauty.
And you can probably guess what happened next. The artistic elite of Paris, well, they absolutely lost their minds. They were so horrified, they formed something called the Committee of 300, one member for every single proposed meter of the tower's height, with one single goal: stop this thing from ever being built.
And oh, they did not hold back. Their official petition was signed by huge names, like the famous writer Guy de Maupassant. They called the tower a barbaric bulk that would cast a hateful shadow over classic monuments like Notre Dame. They saw it as an insult to their beautiful city. But Gustave Eiffel's response? It was cool-headed and honestly brilliant. He defended his tower not just on its engineering, but on its aesthetics. He compared it to the pyramids in Egypt, basically saying, hey, why is something massive and admirable over there suddenly hideous and ridiculous here? He was arguing for a new kind of beauty, a modern, functional beauty.
So, despite all the protests, construction went ahead. And the way this thing came together with such breathtaking speed and precision, well, that's a whole other story of genius.
First off, get this, over 18,000 individual iron parts. And the amazing thing is, they were all manufactured and pre-drilled in a factory outside of Paris. This was basically a giant precision-engineered Lego set. If a part didn't fit perfectly on site, it got sent right back to the factory, no exceptions.
And holding all those pieces together? 2.5 million rivets, every single one hammered into place by hand by teams of workers hanging hundreds of meters in the air. Just imagine the incredible manual labor involved.
The iron alone weighed 7,300 tons, which sounds huge, right? But the design is so incredibly efficient that if you could melt the whole tower down, the puddle of iron would only fill its square base to a depth of about 6 centimeters. It's a true masterpiece of strength without bulk.
But maybe the most astonishing part of all is the speed. From the first shovel in the ground to the completed main structure, it took just 2 years and 2 months. For a project this complex, that pace was absolutely record-breaking.
So the fair opens in May of 1889. The artist predicted a total disaster. The whole city was kind of holding its breath. So how did the public react?
It was an immediate, runaway smash hit. I mean, before the elevators were even working, nearly 30,000 people climbed all 1,710 steps to get to the top. By the fair's end, almost 2 million people had visited. It became the place to be, attracting celebrities, and it even had a newspaper open up a printing press on the second floor. The critics were proven completely wrong.
And maybe the ultimate seal of approval came from the inventor, Thomas Edison. He visited Eiffel's private apartment at the very top and left this amazing message in the guest book, calling him a brave builder and comparing him to the great engineer, the good Lord. Pretty high praise.
So, after all the controversy and all the triumph, you'd think the tower's future was secure. But here's the crazy part. Its story was actually supposed to end right there.
Yep, believe it or not, the original contest rules required the tower to be easily dismantled. Eiffel's permit was only for 20 years. In 1909, the monstrous tower was scheduled to be completely torn down. But Eiffel was determined to make his masterpiece indispensable. He encouraged scientific experiments at the top.
And soon, it proved to be the absolute perfect height for a new technology, the radio antenna. Its value was really cemented during World War I, when its transmitter was used to jam German communications during a pivotal battle. The tower had saved itself by proving it was just too useful to tear down.
And so, the tower that was built to last just 20 years still stands today, completely transformed from a useless eyesore into the world's most visited paid monument.
It's a remarkable story of vision overcoming criticism, isn't it? The very tower they fought to tear down is now the symbol of the entire country. And it really makes you wonder, what ideas that we see as radical or even monstrous today will become the beloved icons of tomorrow?